Hello there, it's Paco here. So, are you trying to get started in making music? Are you spending your days browsing the internet checking if you should buy this audio interface or this other, if you should buy a MIDI keyboard, if you should buy a MIDI controller, if you should get Ableton, if you should get Logic, if you should get a Mac, or if you should get a Windows computer? Stay here and let's have a chat. So, I'm gonna speak about my story. Ever since I'm a kid, I'm involved with music in one way or another. I used to go to the conservatory to learn how to play the violin, and I got quite far into it. But life took me in another way, so now I have another job and I don't professionally work in music. But I always liked it. And I remember when I had my well-paid first job, I had some stability, I got an apartment for myself with a spare room. I thought, I want to have a home studio. And then I spent so much time in the internet checking, oh, I should buy this, no, I should buy that, no, I should buy this and that, this synthesizer, or I should buy this controller or this software. And you know what I did? I bought everything. And that was, in my opinion, a pretty big mistake. Because first, I had to learn many things at once. Because every piece of gear you buy, you need to learn it. And I couldn't focus on one thing. And I had at home I have a pretty good studio, but fast forward till like a couple of months ago, where I moved to a new country, I only could take with me my laptop, basically an audio interface and a microphone. And you know what? I think I make more music now than I used to make in my home studio. Sure, I think the process is not as enjoyable because all of us like to play with toys. What I'm trying to tell you, if you want to get started in making music, the one thing you actually need to start is a computer. I know some people don't like to make music with computers because they look at the screen all day at work, and when they go home they don't want to keep looking at a screen. But let's be honest with ourselves. If you want to make music, you probably want to share it. If you want to share your music, you need a computer to at least upload the music somewhere. So you need a computer. That's the minimum you need. Now, there's a big debate. Should I get a Windows? Should I get a Mac? I've had both, and I personally prefer Mac. I am not saying Windows is bad. I actually have used it a lot for music production, but I think Mac is a little bit better. It's just more seamless for me. Okay, once you have a computer, you probably need an audio interface. And this is because if you want to hook up more audio inputs or connect to different outputs, this is kind of necessary. I picked this one. This is a Zoom Ace M4, basically because it's very small and I could bring it easily to my trips. And the other thing you need, it's probably a microphone. I'm not so much of a singer myself, but I actually like to record some vocals here and there. And that's it. Now, anything outside of the computer and probably the audio interface, and if you sing and you like to record yourself a microphone, it's 100% unnecessary. There is a difference between something that is nice to have and something necessary. And those are nice to have, but they are unnecessary. Now, once you have your computer, your audio interface, and your microphone, and if you play some instrument, of course, that instrument, then you can start with a nice to have. And the first nice to have, in my opinion, is a MIDI controller, because it makes so much easier the process of inputting MIDI notes in your digital audio workstation. And speaking about digital audio workstation, that's the next thing you need. If you get a computer, you are 100% broke like I was at the beginning, you probably can get Reaper. It's got a very low price tag and I don't think you even have to pay. But in my opinion, the best workstation, or at least the one I like, is Ableton Live. It's just the one that clicked with me. I guess you have other preferences, but I personally like Ableton Live. And sometimes I use Logic Pro because I got it in a package some years ago. Now you have 3 versions. You can go for the intro, for the standard, and I think for the suite. And I jump straight to the best one, and I think it's a little bit of an overkill. I think with the standard you are pretty much served, and you can always upgrade. My advice to you is that if you want to make music, just do it. Like in my home studio, I've spent so many hours jamming around with my synthesizers, with my guitars, with the violin. The thing is that I didn't get anything done. I was just jamming. I had a lot of fun, I need to say, but I didn't get music out there. And I think that's, like, I enjoyed a lot the process, but inside of me I had this small anxiety, like I'm not getting anything done. And by the time I was clicking with something I would have liked to develop, it was time to kind of wrap up and leave. And because I have a job, I can't wake up next morning and keep going at it. I need to go to work, and most of us don't have the luxury of spending all of our time with music. So what I want to say is that if you want to make music, get it out there, make people listen it, best thing you can do is to have not so many things. The less, in this case, I think less is more, because if you have too much, you don't really know where to start. For example, in my case, I will enter my home studio and I have my guitar, my violin, my piano, I had a synthesizer, a Modi X, I had an OP1, I had a machine, I had an Ableton Push, and I was like, I don't know, like I think I need to use everything. So then I went to the Ableton Push. Then you need to fire Ableton, then you need to fire the Ableton Push, then you need to start jamming with Ableton Push, and then you're like, okay, I'm using Ableton Push, yeah, this is nice, but I have a violin right there, so I need to do something with the violin. And then you go grab the violin, but in your idea it wasn't really the violin, so like you are not driven by your ideas, you are driven by what you see around you. And I think it's better if you just have one thing, like you commit to something. Now, I'm not saying that you should make music just to get it out there. I mean, it's totally normal, understandable and legit to make music just to enjoy the process and even not share it. Like you can just be at home jamming around all day and that's perfectly fine. But in my case, I wanted to make the music be heard by some other people. I found that it's much better to have less things. So I sold a bunch of stuff, and now that I'm here in Italy, I have even less things, and I think I'm kind of enjoying the process. So maybe when I get back to Sweden, where I live, I might get rid of almost everything. Now, there is one thing I will never get rid of. This thing is just nuts. Like, it's so fun to make music in the OP1. If you know what that is, I have a video right here, but this is like the definition of something unnecessary. Like you 100% don't need this, and I think it's super overpriced. I think it's not that useful, but I just love it. Anyways, I hope I gave you some insight into music gear. Don't overdo it. Think of the music first, not on the gear first, and you will make great music. So, I hope this video was useful to you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.